is widely regarded as Australia's ultimate bushwalking destination. Mild summers, long daylight hours, unique flora and fauna, and spectacular scenery are the essence of a perfect escape. Located on the Tasman and Forestier peninsulas, approximately 1 hour's drive from Hobart in southeastern Tasmania, lies Tasman National Park. This coastline has been shaped by the forces of nature for thousands of years. With the highest sea cliffs in Australia and a remarkable diversity of land and marine animals, the park is a popular destination for local residents and visitors alike. In 2006, at the request of the Tasmanian government, the Parks and Wildlife Service started to scope out a walking track experience to complement the overland track. After a feasibility study, the Tasman area, with its striking coastal landscape, was selected as the right location, and the Three Capes track was born. Its vision is to be Australia's premier coastal bushwalking experience. The project was realised in 2010 with a partnership between the federal and state governments, who have each committed $12.5 and $12.8 million of funding respectively for the project.
The Tasman Peninsula is known very much because of Port Arthur, and it's very much known for its cultural values. And from a visitor point of view, it's not very highly known for its natural values. So the idea of Three Capes is really to highlight the incredible natural values to complement the cultural values of Port Arthur, with the flow-on effect of hopefully people staying in the region longer. It's an important project for the Park Service because it's a big project in terms of regional development, and I'm really confident about the long-term success of this project and the benefits that will flow to both the Tasman community and also the Tasmanian community overall.
Following the construction of 5 overnight huts, 40 kilometres of new track, the upgrade of 19 kilometres of existing track, gateway infrastructure and 2 jetties, the Three Capes track will provide an accessible, mud-free journey through a diverse landscape of mixed forest. Walkers will see, feel and share the powerful energy that each of the capes generate as they follow the edge of this wild coastline. For the past 10 months, a group of 45 dedicated men and women have been working on the upgrade of the Cape Hauy track. Over that time, a total of 4.7 kilometres has been upgraded, which will ultimately end up as part of the final day's walk on the Three Capes track. The upgrade has not only provided valuable information to guide the rest of the Three Capes track project, it also revealed the challenges and wonders of living and working in this beautiful and remote area.
We've used Cape Hauy to test a lot of our processes for the Three Capes track project. So I've overseen the upgrade. We've been responsible over the last 10 months for operating the helicopter slinging, and I guess I've just been managing the project team and the contractors as they've been building the track.
And whatever efficiencies we can derive from the lessons that we've learned here are going to be super important over such a longer length of track.
As part of the approval and planning process, the Parks and Wildlife Service conducted a detailed assessment and on-ground survey for natural and heritage values.
Specific listed species, the orchid and euphrasia species are probably the key ones, but there's a number of other ones as well. Probably without doubt the key fauna species of note, both on Cape Hauy and for Three Capes, are the eagle species, so the wedge-tailed eagle and the white-bellied sea eagle. So there's an Aboriginal cultural heritage site identified in 2 places on the Cape Hauy track, and again we have had to instigate a number of mitigation measures to protect those sites. So the track had to be laid on top of the existing ground. It was laid on top of a geotextile fabric. There was no use of any mechanised equipment, so it was all built by hand.
In a first for the Parks and Wildlife Service, it decided to divide the track construction into two sections and work with two different contractors at the same time. Following a tender process in 2011, it selected two Tasmanian track companies, Mountain Trails and Walking Track Services, to undertake the track construction. Another local company, Helicopter Resources, was selected to provide helicopter services, a critical part of operations given the area's remoteness. And two Tasman Peninsula companies, Cunningham Holdings and Nichols Excavations, were selected to provide the rock and gravel used in the track upgrade.
So Mountain Trails, we were working up in New South Wales when I first heard about the Three Capes track proposal from Parks, and yeah, thought, wow, this is, you know, a big trail project in our backyard, so we've got to be part of this.
Having two crews working at the same time in different locations, relying on helicopters for the supply of rock and gravel, proved an immense logistical challenge. While nature played her part, with helicopter operations suspended when the wind speed exceeded 20 knots, at a human level, the most important part of Parks and Wildlife Service operations was ensuring the safety of those on the ground.
Logistically, we've flown, you know, over 2,000 tonnes of material in. It's equated to 62 fly-in days. We averaged about 40 flights a day, so it's, you know, close to 2,500 flights. And we wouldn't have been able to achieve that without a lot of hard work from a number of park staff.
My role looks after the delivery of all the rock out here onto the track, so I supervise the helicopter operations, or alternatively track supervisor, so, you know, supervising all the loads coming in. So on any given day I'm probably supervising 50 flights of rock out here on the Cape, and it's not a bad office to be sitting in and receiving loads of rock.
As part of the track upgrade, Forestry Tasmania provided the Parks and Wildlife Service with approval to use an area known as the Spur as a base for material collection and distribution. After a daily briefing involving the pilot and ground crew to discuss the flight schedule and logistics, work commences and bags of rock and gravel are delivered by helicopter to drop zones on the track.
My role has been primarily around logistics, so organising the material supplies, making sure that the gravel bags, the right amount of gravel bags, have been ready at the base spur for us to ship out. And then of course organising helicopter availability around obviously the weather, organising staff, personnel, and also probably the main part of my role has been organising the flight program. So we get a shopping list, I guess, each week, and then looking at the most efficient way that we can supply those materials.
Dave, I'm just at site 1A, ready to receive a load of gravel. Over.
And the great thing is that track companies are able to put a tabard on the ground, and we're able to put the rock exactly where they need it, you know, within centimetres of where they're after it. The pilots are just, you know, spot on where they're putting the loads.
When the load's suspended under the chopper from a 150 foot long line, to be that accurate is pretty special.
After the helicopters have gone, the real work begins, and the track crews get about it eagerly with mattock and muscle.
Yeah, technically it's very difficult, very bony country, very steep country, very heavy work. So it's some of the hardest country that I've worked in.
The track crew out here have been really outstanding in the way that they've been so careful working in this environment. It's a construction site, it's heavy work, but I think maybe because those guys like to work out in the bush, they've got that understanding and sympathy for it, so it's been really good.
There was quite a few sections that couldn't be rerouted for various reasons, and they were quite steep, so we've had to put in rock stairs. And some of the staircases that the Mountain Trails crew have built are quite impressive. They're built to Australian standards, they're all very uniform. Some people say they look a bit out of place in the bush setting. However, in another couple of years, when all the regrowth, all the sags and grasses grow back up around the trail, you know, they're going to blend in beautifully, and you know, it's a real credit to the guys to put these staircases in.
Now I have an understanding of what's underneath. So when you walk up a set of steps, you're really seeing the tip of the iceberg in terms of the effort that's gone into constructing those steps. It's just incredible.
A seasonal creek provided an opportunity for the track workers to showcase their skills.
So we approached Parks and we said, look, would it be possible for us to build a dry stone arch bridge across this creek? And you know, they said yes. So we got all excited, and two of the guys worked for a week building the stone arch bridge. And yeah, so that's, you know, a pretty special little feature of the track. That's another enjoyable thing about the track work, you know, using these, you know, ancient techniques. For all intents and purposes, nothing's changed in the design of these things over thousands of years.
There is, however, something far more profound than the physical and aesthetic nature of this work.
It satisfies me. I'm very satisfied being out here and working and just taking the land and turning it into something that you've touched. If you build it right, and you can guarantee that if you come back in 50 years' time and you'll be walking up these stairs here we're standing in front of, it'll still be here the day we put it in. That makes me very happy, very proud, and that's why I do this kind of work.
We see it as more creativity, more art than building or constructing a track, and that's one of the things that all the guys talk about.
Although the track workers value the artistry and creativity of what they do, it's the opportunity to live and work in wild places, removed from the hustle and bustle of modern life, that makes all the hard work worthwhile.
I got into track work really because of my love of the Tasmanian landscape. You know, it's a great way to earn a living, particularly for young fellows. Yeah.
The tracks proved very popular with the local wildlife. A number of Bennett's wallabies have discovered the track and found that it's a great way to move in a linear way along the Cape. That's very popular with the tourists coming through.
And you get to see lots of things that you only get to see because you spend a lot of time on location, as it were. Yeah, it's wonderful.
While the natural beauty of the area inspires, there's one thing that is never far from one's mind.
The weather. I know we talk about weather a lot, but I think it's the one thing that you really need to be ready prepared for. One day it could be beautiful like it is now, but tonight it could be raining. The worst thing is probably the wind. Rain doesn't keep me awake at night, it's the wind. Hearing the wind roar up the valleys and you just know it's going to hit your tent.
While the weather presents its own challenges, so too does working in a remote location.
Everyone needs to have their own personality, their strengths, their weaknesses, and have a character strong enough not to overpower the rest of the crew.
As members of the Hobart Walking Club, Bob Wyatt and Marcia Solomon were involved with cutting new tracks to provide access in the park. In recognition of their long association with the area, Mountain Trails invited them to inspect the upgrade to the track they are both so familiar with. After taking in the wonderful views of Fortescue Bay, they sat down to chat about the track work and how things used to be done.
So Bob, what sort of tools and equipment did you use when you're actually out here working on the track?
Only chainsaws and hand saws, picks and that sort of thing.
The experience of walking on the new track triggered memories of Richard Hopkins, who cut many of the tracks in this area.
Richard lived at Coonya and I live at Eagle Hawk next, so we were the two local members of the Hobart Walking Club.
Sure. Marcia, what do you think Richard would think of the Three Capes track, and particularly this extra good work that's been done?
I think he'd be very happy in the final analysis, really.
He loved this area, didn't he?
He loved it so much. Sometimes when we were just walking together, there are certain rocks, certain views, certain rainforest up there where he would just stand for a while, and I think he went into meditation mode.
Take it all in.
That rainforest, these views, this coast is so beautiful. It will nourish the spirit if you let it. And I think he would be happy that we were sharing that and making it more accessible to others.
All who've been involved in this project are very proud of what's been achieved. From a Parks and Wildlife Service perspective, the upgrade of the Cape Hauy track has been a testament to determination, strong partnerships, sheer hard work and planning.
From our perspective, one of the key things with working out on Cape Hauy is the thought that we're going to now extend this throughout the length of the Three Capes track. I think it's going to be really of world standard. I think much doubt about that.
A lot of tourists have come through and had a look at the track we're building, and they give us a bit of feedback. They're all pretty impressed with the stonework. I mean, it's one of the most impressive stonework tracks I've seen anywhere in Australia.
I couldn't speak highly enough of the track workers. I mean, I think that people need to come down and view their work themselves.
The great thing from my point of view is the track companies really understand what we're trying to do here in terms of making the track an integral part of the overall Three Capes experience, and that the track has to help deliver that experience. And that to me is the thing that I think has been fantastic with the work that they've done. They really understand what we're trying to do here, which is to build a world-class product, and you need world-class infrastructure to do that.
The completion of the Cape Hauy track upgrade provides a new walking experience for all Tasmanians. As the years and cycles of nature pass, the inherent beauty of it will speak for itself. And as the next stage of the Three Capes track project moves into more remote areas, the effort of man and machinery will always be humbled by the natural beauty and wildness of this place.